Hey guys, so I just watched the 8th episode of The 100, season 7, called Anaconda. This was the prequel pilot for the prequel show of The 100, basically explaining what happened before The 100 to have The 100 be a thing, if that makes sense. Just so we are clear here, this was a very complex show, an episode. I wish that when they showed the bombs drop, they would have explained why the bombs dropped in the first place. They didn't explain that. This show, I enjoyed this episode because it was intriguing to see. It was interesting to see everything that accumulated to get to where we started with the 100. I mean, honestly, when the 100 started, I was definitely intrigued by what happened beforehand. And if you know me at all, if you are new to my channel, I love anything to do with apocalypse, aliens, sci-fi, time travel. Basically anything to do with any of those things, I eat it up every day. I liked seeing what occurred beforehand and the different characters that became maybe more important during those times that we didn't see, obviously, when the show began. The bombs drop. We find out that the shepherd, who we just found out is the shepherd, was actually a cult leader who created the bunker. Or, well, I'm not sure if he created it or if he just brought people to the bunker as a cult leader, but yes. He is the same person. I did not know that before last week. Certain things, and we meet her as she's sewing up her friend's head, because obviously they went to a protest because they're both activists, and it was pretty interesting. And they were also smoking the doob. Basically, he says to his wife, who comes into the screen a little bit later, the Anaconda, which is the name of this episode, and basically it's a code word for the bombs dropping. Which, honestly, I think that's one of the most disappointing things about this episode, is that we don't know why. Why did the bombs drop? Like, was there a war going on? Like, was Callie's dad, involved in the government? Like, how did he know about the bombs? It's a lot of, I feel like this episode, for everything about it that was interesting and thought-provoking and really interesting to see and just a fun ride, honestly, it created a lot more questions than answers, frankly. And so basically, once they find out that the bombs are dropping, and we see it, and it looks like Skynet is making all these waves, and the bombs are dropping. Sorry for all my weirdness, but yeah. They go to the bunker, which felt very nostalgic, of course, from the 100, obviously. And, Callie, she thought they would only be down there for a few years, and she cannot even imagine being down there her whole life, and it was really interesting to see them all go down there. Yeah. Do I sound like a predator? I know I do. And in that scene, I definitely felt like she was definitely Bellamy, and her brother was definitely Clark, being the which is also interesting, because later in the episode, I felt like the opposite. I felt like she was, well, not the opposite, but he was behaving more like Bellamy, in a way. In this scene, she was being more like Bellamy, because it reminded me of the scene where Clark and Bellamy and all of them found the bunker, and Bellamy wanted to go up and, bring people in, and Clark was like, we know if the door stays closed, the human race survives. So it reminded me of that scene. But later on in the episode, I definitely felt like in the bunker for a while, we see that it's been 2 years later, and some of the people, including Callie and her brother, are on the surface in suits, and somebody comes down into a shuttle, which reminded me of Raven's shuttle from the first season, and we find out that it's Becca, and she's already created Allie, the chip, and the flame, I mean, and she basically helps them. She helps them with the stone. Somehow she, configures all the buttons, opens the portal, and Callie's dad is like, oh shit, this girl is making me look bad, basically, ironically. She somehow makes the stone turn into like this glowing white, like cold, like looking thing that's in, and she gets sucked up into it, and then the scene ends, and then we see her come down from it, and she's like all scared and stuff, and she basically said that it's Judgment Day, which also made me think of Terminator. So there's a lot of nods to Terminator in this episode, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it seems like Terminator started the 100. I mean, I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding at the same time. Callie's brother Reese comes in and basically takes Becca and unfortunately kills Becca. And I'm like, of course. So we basically saw how Becca died. These shepherd disciple bastards killed her. Oh, I liked how I also liked how they showed Reese's face in his suit as they were killing Becca, and you could see the regret on his face, so that was cool. But yeah, Callie was definitely a really good character in this show, and I'm definitely interested to see what happens with her next. I feel like because the 100 has been a lot of back and forth between different storylines for like the last 7 years basically, I feel like it's not crazy to think that they might follow both the Grounders and Callie in this prequel, and Bill the Shepherd, and all of his disciples going into the portal, which is what we saw. Basically, at the end of this episode, we saw Callie getting all of her people out of the bunker and onto the ground because they all got night blood, and then the shepherd got all of his people through the portal to wherever. And so yeah, it was definitely an interesting episode. I mean, like I said, I just felt like it was rushed, and I really wish they would have explained more things. And I feel like, honestly, it felt like a whole season of a show in one episode in a lot of ways. Like they could have really, like Jason wrote this episode, so I feel like he could have expanded so many parts of this episode into like half a season, honestly. The writing that Jason gave us more questions than answers, and I was not expecting that. I was expecting more answers than questions. I mean, there were definitely answers, how Becca died, and who was in the bunker before all of our people were in the bunker, and but we don't know why the bombs dropped. I mean, we know that bombs dropped. We know from the beginning of the 100, we've known that somehow some nuclear war happened, and that's what killed the earth and the ground, and that's why our people were in the sky, basically, sky crew. I hope that at some point we find out why the bombs dropped, like who initiated the bombs to drop. Like, we have no idea. So for that reason, I can't give it like a 9 or 10. I'd probably give it like a 7 because it was really interesting, maybe a 7.5 because it was good, but definitely not as good as I expected it to be. But at the same time, like, I don't know, man. Like, but overall, I definitely see myself watching this new prequel to the 100, I should say. I definitely see myself watching the show because, like I said, I love apocalypse shows and movies. I love sci-fi. I love time travel, and I definitely want to see what happens, or what happened, I should say, to create the show that we know and love, which is the 100, of course. So I'm definitely interested to see what happens. But yeah, those are my thoughts about this prequel episode of the 100, I should say. It was definitely better than I expected it to be, and I was very pleasantly surprised. Like, I mean, I saw on Twitter some people saying that it was really good, but it rushed, and I completely agree with those people. But, Callie, she reminds me so much of Clark is Not Even Funny. And Bellamy in some ways, too. I feel like her and her brother remind me of Clark and Bellamy. Even though they're brother and sister, Ben, Clark, and Bellamy are not brother and sister. But yeah. Oh, also, I didn't love... Okay, I refuse to believe that Bellamy is dead. I refuse to believe that. One, because, come the fuck on. He's a main character on this freaking show. And two, I mean, like, I refuse to believe it because, like, I just feel like it's an easy way for people to be, like, puzzled and puzzling and puzzled about it. Like, I don't know, I refuse to believe it because they wouldn't do that to us. I hope Jason wouldn't do us that way. And he's a main freaking character. And I don't want it to be like Game of Thrones where everybody was disappointed about the final season. And I don't want to be disappointed about this season. Like, so far it's been a pretty good season. Even though it's been complex and crazy and I don't care about Sanctum at all. Like, I care about Bardo and all this other stuff. I mean, I care about Murphy and Amori, but I don't care about the Sanctum stuff. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm in the minority. I have no idea. But my point is I really, really hope that Bellamy's not dead. But the fact that... I hope Clark kicks Shepard's ass, meaning kills him, but yeah. Oh, and then the final scene we see, you know, Clark is basically talking to the Shepard, and the Shepard basically wants help from Clark, and Clark's like, you killed my best friend, so I'm not helping you. And she wants to see her friends, of course. And so we see Octavia, Dioza, and Echo, and they're like, you know, like Charlie's Angels kind of format, walking up, taking their helmets off, and one, where's Hope? Did they just think that 3 people instead of 4 would be like more aesthetically pleasing? I don't know. Also, like, I really hope they're not brainwashed because I thought that they would just be like more badass after that, but yeah. I should have assumed that would be a bad thing, so. A lot of things that are unanswered, and I really freaking hope that everybody survives and everybody lives happily ever after in the end of the show. And I really, 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 really hope that Bellamy is not dead, and I hope that Bellamy and Clark just go off into the sunset together. But oh God, please, Jason, don't kill Bellamy. Oh, please let him be alive. But yeah, those are my thoughts about this episode. I didn't hate it, and I'm very interested to see what happens next. So if you like this episode and have a lot of thoughts like I do and a lot of opinions and want to know more and want to ask me what my favorite color is, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video. I feel like I'm playing that game, Hungry Hippos. Yeah. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos from me because I do lifestyle, mostly pop culture, and a little dash of beauty for good measure. See you in my next video. Bye.